Live updates: shootings in El Paso and Ohio leave at least 29 dead. Slideshow by Photo Services. One deadly mass shooting hot on the heels of another. Less than 24 hours after a gunman opened fire at a Walmart in El Paso, Texas, a man using a long gun stormed an entertainment district and at least 9 people and wounded another 16, the police said. Reed officers were nearby and responded to the scene within 1 minute of gunshots. It was the latest tragedy in a particularly brutal week for gun violence in the United States. The shooting came about, in all, defined as 3 or more killings in a single episode, in the United States this year. Government. Greg Abbott of El Paso's wounded have major amounts of tissue injury. The Del Sol Medical Center in El Paso said it was treating 11 patients from the shooting episode, ranging in age from 35 to 82. 3 were in critical. Dr. Stephen Flaherty, the center's medical director of trauma, said 7 of the patients had already undergone surgery and that many more operations would probably be necessary in the next few days. The injuries that we saw here were very significant injuries, Dr. Flaherty said early Sunday morning at a news conference. Major amounts of. The hospital recently held a training exercise in which staff members prepared to treat a large number of patients from a mass killing. We actually brought doctors, nurses and administrators who were off duty on Saturday raced to the hospital to help treat victims, he said. The hospital also received a large supply of blood from donors after the shooting. Officials urged. David Shim, the hospital's chief executive, said some injured patients were brought in unconscious and that staff members had to scramble to identify them, but by Sunday morning they had all been identified through family members. He said at least one. The FBI is investigating whether the shooting was a hate crime. Local and federal authorities are scrutinizing a 2,300-word anti-immigrant manifesto that was, and are trying to determine whether the suspected gunman wrote it. If the manifesto is linked to the suspect, federal authorities may treat the attack as a hate crime, or terrorism, or both. Rod Rosenstein, the former Deputy Attorney General, wrote on Twitter late Saturday that killing random civilians to spread a political message is terrorism. FBI classifies it as domestic terrorism, but white terrorism is more precise, Mr. Rosenstein said on Twitter. Many of the killers, officials say no immigration arrests will be made at shelters or hospitals. The West Texas Office of Customs and Border Protection said its officers would not be conducting enforcement operations at El Paso hospitals, shelters, or a middle school where a reunification center for families has been set up. We stand in support of our community, the office wrote on Twitter late on Saturday. Officials said Border Patrol agents were helping the El Paso Police Department with building safety and security, traffic control, and emergency medical care. David Shim, the chief executive of the Del Sol Medical Center in El Paso, said at the news conference on Sunday morning that anyone with injuries should seek medical attention, regardless of citizenship status. Undocumented citizen or not, we're going to do everything we can to make sure we're doing everything we can for them, Mr. Shimp said. The El Paso shooting is raising tensions in a city already on edge. El Paso residents of this city awoke on Sunday to the aftermath of a massacre in which a gunman opened fire in a crowded Walmart store, killing at least 20 people and injuring 26 others. Officials were investigating whether the suspect in the killings, a white man in his 20s from Allen, Texas, was linked to a racist manifesto railing against immigration and the growing Hispanic population in Texas. The attack is raising tensions in a predominantly Latino city that was already on edge over the federal government's targeting of migrant families. Businesses closed in El Paso on Saturday night. More than 200 people gathered at St. Pius X Church. The shopping center was a regular destination for Mexican visitors. The Walmart is less than 10 minutes drive from Bridge of the Americas linking El Paso and its sister city in Mexico, Ciudad Juarez, and is a regular destination for Mexican tourists who come to the city to shop and visit family. The two cities are Rosamara Silva, 42, and Yvonne Moreno, also 42, both church employees in Ciudad Juarez, were on their way to shop at the Walmart on Saturday morning when they found their way blocked by police cars and ambulances. It was about 10. We weren't in there through a miracle of God, Ms. Silva said. Ms. Moreno smiled. Only as dusk fell did the pair venture out to buy some snacks and head back over the bridge. It's sad that there are people who discriminate so much, said Ms. Silva. But we aren't going. Karen Pay plus or minus a, 19, who lives in El Paso and was crossing the bridge to visit her mother in Ciudad Juarez, saw a broader threat to the shooting. I think it's because Elizabeth Malkin and Katie Benner contributed reporting.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park, pot.